Hey guys, Quicksilver here. Just gonna do another little live stream. This time we're working on headless client stuff for AI. So it's gonna be a pretty boring live stream. Very the work will be slow and there won't be much to look at. We'll do a couple tests of what we work on as we go, but for the most part it's gonna be grinding away in Notepad++ once again. Yeah, so the what we're working on is handing off AI from server to headless clients. We're trying to make it as dynamic as possible. So, like as many, like I want to support like theoretically unlimited number of headless clients. So if you want to plug in two, that's better, and if you want to plug in more than that, that's better, or just one, that's fine. So the idea is that like the server is going to, so we have all these AI right here, and they're all owned by the server. What I want to happen is like it's not a new concept like equal load distribution. So say you have like what prop can we use for it? We'll use a supply box. Say we have the server and one headless client. What we don't want is for all the AI to be moved over to the headless client, because one that increases, there's a lot of like network traffic going back and forth, which slows down the ability for the server to keep players um, network synced properly. So what you see is a lot of like rubber banding, and we don't want that. So we want to do headless client stuff in a way that doesn't increase rubber banding. Like you can have like excellent server FPS, um, but still have rubber banding. So that's what we're trying to avoid. So say you have one headless client connected. What I would do, or what I'm going to do, is like this. So you have half the AI running on the server still, and half on the headless client. And of course, you can modify that a bit. Like you can say like, all right, so you have all the AI on the server, and depending on your headless client hardware, like how many server CPU cores you want to dedicate to a headless client. It's like, all right, our headless client isn't that powerful. Like it's sort of a weak, like not very many cores. CPU is not that great. So maybe we only put like a small amount of the AI on the headless client, and that's still good. Like it still will have a great effect. So that's definitely like this will be like the main setup is you have like the server running with more cores. Like say the CPU is like 8 cores. Well, you give the server 6 cores, and then you give the headless client 2 cores to use, and then yeah, so you'd have like a load distribution like this. So still most AI on the server, but then offloading some of the load to headless client. And then say you plugged in a second headless client, like say you have like a 20 core CPU. Well, then you can give like 4 cores to this and then 4 cores to the next headless client. So in this case, you'd want to balance it differently. You'd want to say, all right, our headless clients are slightly better, so we'll start to distribute the load evenly. And then you'd have something like this. So the server would have a smaller load, and then one of the head like these would be sort of distributed. And there's always going to be some AI running on the server, just because of the way the mission and framework is set up. Like some of the advanced AI stuff needs to be on the server for to avoid like a lot of network traffic. This is one part of the headless client thing we're working on. Another is like this, like it's like a handshake. Like the headless client has to have all the information it needs about each unit before it gets transferred over. So if all the AI are on the server, and then say you have like one, you just have one headless client. So this headless client does not have accurate information. Like if say on the server you set like the skill of a unit, like these, say this squad here, like you set their skill like 15% accuracy, 100% commanding skill. Maybe this guy is stationary, like he's not allowed to move, like his feet have been disabled, sort of thing. The headless client doesn't know that, so when the server spawns the units and gives them certain states, like disables some of the AI features, when it gets transferred over to the headless client, the skills will all go back to like the default skills set by the headless client profile, and this guy will lose his stationary stuff and he'll start to walk around like as if he had no idea he was supposed to stay still. So we have to do offloading in a way that maintains the unit state. So instead of just distributing the squad over, we have to do some stuff first. Like we have to first say, hey, like the server has to say, all right, like maybe there is no headless client. The server has to say, all right, which of these squads is like a priority for headless client? Like things like anti-air battery, they'll always be on the server. Like in AA batteries and stuff, they'll stay on the server just because that's the best place for them. But like foot soldiers, they don't need certain global information, so we can have them distributed to the headless client. So say you have no headless client. This, like the states of this unit, like the skills and stuff, the server will say, all right, which squads or which groups are okay to be transferred to a headless client. So it'll say, all right, these ones are okay. So it'll set some variables on them. And then if a headless client connects over here, the headless client will say, all right, hey server, we have detected that there are some squads over here that are available. Can you please send over the information? Like, can you please send over like the like the states? How do you call it? Like whether a unit's supposed to be like stationary in a building or have a certain skill set on it. The server will say, all right, these squads here can be sent over to a headless client, and the headless client will say, all right, these I noticed these squads are available. I am not at my AI load yet, at my AI capacity. So could you please send over the information? And then the server will see, hey, a headless client has requested information, like information and offloading of these squads, and then carry out the offload from there. So it'll just do the final bit, like like here is where the server, like these units get spawned in on the server, like they don't exist. They get spawned in. The server says these ones are okay for headless client, and the headless client says, "Hey, I noticed these ones are ready to offload. Give me some of them." And in doing that, it transfers to the next step, and then the server says, "Hey, there's AI in this transfer pipeline. Let's give them over." So it updates the variable states of the units and like the AI states and the skills and everything, and then offloads. So it's not just a process where it's like, oh hey, like there's no headless client, and then you add a headless client or a headless client connects, and the server says, oh hey, here's some units, here you go. And then if these guys were all like in buildings and had certain like formations or whatever, on the server, when they transferred over, the headless client machine would not know about any of those states. So these units would be like, all right, hey, I don't know where I am. I'm starting over again. So let's all go in like this. And that's not what we want. So that's like a very simple way of doing it. Is just to say, oh hey, a headless client, boom, here you go. These units are all walking around when they should be stuck in buildings. Vehicles don't know who they're shooting at anymore, stuff like that. So we want to retain all the important information through the handover process. That's sort of what we're working on. I haven't described it visually before, so I'm not even sure if it's easy to understand like that. But basically, it's not a one-step process. Like we're not just going, like headless client connects, boom, here you go. Like we're not doing that. We're doing like a multi-stage process. So like headless client connects, server says these AI are okay to take. Headless client requests, and then the server updates like all the, and then the server like updates all the information the headless client will need, and then transfers over to the headless client. So that's what we're working on today. I'm not sure how much we're going to get done. There's a few parts that we're not going to be working on yet, like the load balancing between headless clients. Like if you have multiples, like multiple headless clients, I'm not working on like this stuff yet, like deciding which, like where to put different groups. I'm mainly just working on like the premise of one headless client. But in a system that will support multiples. So yeah, I'll leave this window open for a bit in case we want to come back here. But we have to jump back to our fun stuff now. I'm not sure how much I can be talking during this. It's not quite tricky, but I'm still figuring out a lot as I go as well. So I have that handoff process here, like that 2 or 3 step process. So the process is like the server will say group is available for headless client. Like the commander, maybe it's not going to be a headless on the headless client. Like AA batteries won't be on the headless client, but like infantry squads and sniper squads, they will be available. So the server will say, hey, these are available. And then it'll pick a headless client which has more capacity left performance wise. Like more like we're gonna give like headless clients like an AI budget, like say 50 each or like 75 each, 75 units each. So I'll give them a budget, and the server will say, hey, this one's not at budget yet. Let's offload this next group, and then it'll go to the next headless client and check the whether that's at capacity, and it'll just iterate through them. But we are just testing with one, so yeah. The server will find a headless client that has capacity left, and and notify the headless client that it's sending over units. The headless client will receive that notification along with like all the variable states and skills that it'll need once the transfer happens. And then it'll indicate, the headless client will indicate once it's received all that information. And then once the server has seen that indication, then it will transfer over. So yeah, it sounds complicated, and it's definitely not the easiest thing to work on. And I don't know how long this stream's going to be because it's tricky enough to work on systems like this, like with full concentration, and then I'm not sure how I'll do with also a live stream going on. But we'll give it a go. We're not in any great hurry. Where was I? I have to figure out where I was before I decided to launch a live stream. Let's have a look. Trying to also check the video just to make sure the live stream's working. I'm pretty sure it's working. I'm not too worried, even if it's not. Whatever. Channel. Yeah, this should be okay. Should be fine. All right. So this is in a headless client script. So the headless client's gonna be running this system, and there I have a little block here for the handover process, and then back over to the main AI script. Both the headless client and the server run this system, and it basically, like, the core of this file is basically iterating through all the managed groups and units and executing some AI behaviors on them. Where is so this is, let's give a big space down here. This is like the old part of the system, and then I'm rewriting some of it up here. So I have to figure out what I was doing. Yeah, so we're checking the list of headless clients, and it's basically like the headless clients. The server doesn't care about the headless client as like an object. Like, it's not like player 1 or player 2. It doesn't care about that. All it cares about is a number, like the network ID. So whether it's like 4 or 7 or 8, like that's what a headless client will look like. It's just a network ID. So we're iterating through. It's checking what headless client network IDs are connected. And there's another system, like in the connection and disconnection framework, that like adds and removes from this list. So if it's not empty, then we run through, get the ID, check for units that are owned by the ID, and if the number of units owned by that ID, like offloaded to that headless client, is under the max load specified for that headless client, then we do stuff. I had some stuff before, like I was working on other stuff before, but I'm sort of rewriting this step. Yes, I'm just rewriting this step. So in this section here, we need a few things. HC can receive more units. And now I have some like skill and AI stuff and headless client stuff up here. We'll go take this. I want to build up a list of, like, I'm just reading, like, this is the instruction, like, this is what these little 0, 1, 2, 3 steps right here are what I'm going to put into script in this section here. So I'm just like reading up here for what we have to do. So we want to get, I had a better idea like an hour ago, but now it's all like disappeared from the mind. So we'll just start typing and then see if it comes back to us. So I want to get like a list of groups that are local to the server and that are available for offloading. So I keep like a running tally. The server keeps like a running tally of local units and groups for this AI system. So we're just going to check that, see what's in that. And then we used select. And this is where we have to look at our system. Actually, I'll just take this whole block for a moment. That whole line for a moment. Paste it up there so I can see it. So this is like, we're gonna set variables on a group, so it'll be like, yeah, well, basically what's written right here. So these will be like the units available for offloading at stage 0. So this means it's like stage 0 or step 0 or whatever you want to call it. So we take the local groups, say our x get variable defaults, select 0. This will be like the step or the stage of the process, and this is going to be the headless client ID. So this will be like the because the server might be talking to multiple different headless clients. Like it might be the server might be talking to this headless client, and then it'll talk to this headless client, and then on, like, you know, maybe a third headless client connects. So it has to know, like, it's gonna look at this group here and say, all right, which, like, maybe this headless client has already done like a handshake with the server to take this squad or this group here. So we don't want the server talking to this headless client over here about this group. So we want to keep a network ID handshake between the headless client and the server. So we're going to say, all right, this headless client here is being discussed between these two. So we'll track the process here. And then maybe this squad over here will be between the server and this one. Maybe that's maybe I can do like in a ring, like something like this around. So like this squad might be like on its way through this step process out to this headless client. This one might be heading out here, and this one might be heading down here. So we want to make sure that when this process is started, that this headless client is not saying, hey, here's an available squad. Let's start a handshake here too, and then it's like competing to see who gets it first. So I don't want to do that. Put our nice little squads back in order. All right. So this is our list. Select 0 is equal to 0. And then while we're still fresh on that, stage 1 will be like same thing, except there should be a like we'll have our headless client ID by now, and it'll be let's just break this out. Select 0, and then select 1. Select 1 should be the network ID. So select 1 will equal the headless client ID, and these will be like groups that are on their way over. This is groups that are available. Units in transfer process 1. What do we have? We have units. Modulated C is 0, local groups. These are units that are available. And then we will pick one. So we will go we need another variable for this. Maybe just group equals. Of course, it could equal 0 as well. So we have to do other stuff. So maybe we'll just reuse that variable. That could be a bad idea. I'll just use group. Problem is group is probably used in a lot of other places. Oh, maybe not. I've used long variable names in this script, so it should be alright. So we're just gonna check. It could get ugly if we start overwriting variables. Looks like we're not using it, so we'll just use it for a moment. I'm gonna be changing that variable name in the future, but for now we can just use it. So group equals, doesn't really matter what group it is. So I can go just select random. There's other checks here as well that we need to do. Like we need to check alive in the count state in case group has been killed off. We'll do that later. That's like extra steps. We need to get something that's functional here. I'm not sure if we're going to get something that's functional today. This is not the simplest thing to write or test. So we'll see how we go. So group, select random, this lists. Now what do we want to do with this group? We want to go back to our instructions up here. And I'm just looking for what we'll need to do. Send the offload notification to the headless client plus any relevant data and states. So this is like a this will be one of the harder bits right here, I think. Maybe it'll be easy, but I don't know. Alright, that's the basics. Make sure this variable is defined somewhere. What are we at, line 610? Make sure it exists somewhere else. Or doesn't exist somewhere else. Good. Alright, so we're iterating through the units in the group, and then setting their or storing their storing/saving their variable states. I wonder if I should do like group data as well, and then unit data. It should all be stored in group data and unit data. Group. So this is our group that we're going to be pushing into the offload pipeline. So we want to be building up some information like over here in the transfer script I was working on. I'm probably not going to use this entire function. Like it's probably not going to use this function. It served its purpose though, to like assess these things. But where is... Oh yeah, okay. Where is the section? This is what the function's going to send through. Slightly different to this though. This is like the offload section. It's like a concept I was just banging out. It seems to look good. I think it looks good, so I'm just gonna go with it. But I did add a set skill thing here. 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1. So we'll do like because there's multiple different skill settings, so we have to account for. It's too hard to explain actually. Just gonna leave that unsaid. So we'll paste this over here so we can see it. So we're pretty much just building up a list right here. So we're building up this list right here. So we're gonna have group data is gonna be like how should we do it? The behavior function, is it just behavior leader group combat mode group? And then we go into the unit data. So we want to build up a list of our unit data here. I wish this was like simpler, but it's not. It's just quite tricky. What? Alright, so we're gonna build up our unit data. Be like push back something. So our unit data. So we need another variable actually. I think we need another. We need like units data. Pretty sure we need that, but I'm not sure yet. Guess we'll see. Unit data pushback. Units. Stop working on like I mean, it's not tough. It's just going back and forth between files for the info I want. How to. There's some more stuff, more variables we'll need. So like unit skills, unit AI features. We're gonna get into some nested arrays here. For each what? So we'll go over skills first, maybe. For each AI skills. Bring some of these variables down here so I can see them. So unit skills. This is sort of the hardest part of making a script is when you're not sure what you're doing. Like I know what I'm doing. It's just the details you often don't see them until you're standing right on them. Um, so if it doesn't make sense to you, it also doesn't make sense to me. That's where we're at. But we end up at the other end anyways. And all I'm doing is just trying to build this list right here. I'll put this up the top. Unit skills and unit data. Unit data. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see in a bit. So just leave that open-ended for now. We'll snip that off. Pushback. Unit skill final X. Unit data pushback unit. I wonder if it's should just be like that. So unit skills will be for each data AI skills. And then we'll do same thing for the AI features. We're just saving a bunch of information that we'll need. for each units group. These will all have to, I'm going to be reusing these. These will have to come into here to be updated for each unit. So now will be unit data, pushback. So we're going to have the units. We're going to have the, should we do the skills or the, we'll do the AI features before the skills. Just because. Pushback units, unit data, pushback, skill unit. I think that's all it is. Skill unit. Yeah, that's it. Unit data. This might need to come in here as well. This units data. So you guys can go. Got the units, empty arrays for iterating. Just like, because this is going through all the units in a group, so it needs to reset every time, or else we're just continually adding. And we don't want that. So, unit AI features, unit data, pushback. Should it just be boom? Get the object. You have the AI features. I should have maybe this will just be up here for simplicity. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just like reorganizing the data structure. So now I'm like separating the skill from the other skill. It's a bit clumsy. Oh, whatever. I don't care. I mean, it is clumsy though, actually. Maybe I should do the AI features last. Okay, we'll do that. Just so the skill stuff is kept together. For the OCD people, they can see it all kept together. So now we have, I think we have what we need. So we have the unit skill, the unit skill arrays right here, and the unit AI feature arrays. We're going to we're gonna actually change this one a bit, because sending true or false over the network is more bytes than just sending like 0 or 1. So I want to convert true or false to 0 or 1, which is pretty simple. I'm just going to do like 0, 1, select that. So we're just converting the true or false to 0 or 1 just for network propagation. It's less bytes, less bandwidth, etc. Pushback skill unit, unit data, pushback unit skills, unit data, pushback unit features. So we're actually going to test this now. We're going to do a little test. Group data, group. I'm just getting all the. I want to do a test in the editor just to see what we have. Data unit group. Get rid of you guys. We need the AI stuff as well. So I just want to see what the data structure here will look like. Group, unit features, unit data. Group data or units data. We actually don't need this variable. Actually I can, we actually do. So units data, pushback, unit data, and then groups data, pushback, units data. And then copy to clipboard group data. So drag all this into the editor. And then see what we got. So I'll do it on this group here. Now what is our output? Oops. Something didn't work. Okay. So I grabbed that line as well. So we don't want that. We want to get rid of that line. I can find it. This one. And then this. So we'll see what appears. So this is this is the output array that we just put in. So this is looking good. This will be our return here for like a 4. It's basically got to look like, trying to make it look like the one above here. So you got a behavior here, combat mode, and then a list of AI data. And we bust it down to, I'm pretty happy with this because it seems to be fully functional. That's what, yeah, we're getting exactly what we need. I'm pretty happy. Yeah, so this, I wanted to build up a data set here, which looks like this, and I think we've done it. Just having a look. Except we converted true and false to 0 and 1s, which is fine. Cool. Alright, so that is done. So we have a functional script here. Let's get rid of that stuff. We don't need, which bits do we need still? I think all this is up there, so we don't need any of that. Don't need any of that. This is still good to look at for a sec, just in case. So group data, push back that. Now we can just set the set a variable on the group. So we can go like group set variable data. Group data. So now we're just sending this information over the network to both how do I say it? Going to be sending it to the headless client. Where's that variable gone? There it is. So we'll set it to the server itself, and then also to the headless client. Yeah, that way the only machines getting these network packets are the headless client that's being interacted with, and the server itself. So it's not sending out data to all machines on the network. That's another thing I'm being careful with, is to not like basically just trying to reduce bandwidth of the system. Like you'll see a lot of other mission makers just do like for offload scripts, they just do like true. That's sending a lot of packets to like players as well, and which just slows down the network itself. So we limit who we send it to. See data. All right, the data has gone across. But we don't send this data anywhere until this step. Like no other machines in the network need this data, so we don't send it anywhere yet. Only when we get to this step in the process do we put this group and unit state on the network. And then now we just indicate to the headless client that that the next step, where are we? Save that bit. We get rid of that, and I'll get rid of that. Yeah, so we're going to set this group variable to, should we set it to 1? And then so it's the stage in the process. We've gone from 0 to 1, and then the relevant party, which is the headless client ID. This stops when we put this here. It stops that thing I was talking about earlier, where like this group will be in like the offload process to the headless client, and setting a network handshake here between these two parties prevents this headless client over here from like requesting transfer of this unit, so it'll only look at these ones and it'll disregard this. That's what setting that variable does. And then once again, we'll just send it to 2 is the network ID of the server always. 2 is just like the dedicated server ID. Just the way it is. It's like a constant value. All right, so that should be good. Should be good. I'm just like looking. We've done a fair bit right there. Just making sure that it all makes sense. Actually, don't need this here because the headless client is also reading this. I keep on forgetting that the headless client is in this file too. Is like executing this file, so I can put everything here. You get that skill funnel, AI features, S0. You always want to put like the last step above. Like this is like step 1 and then step 2. I don't want to go to step 1 and then step 2. I want like a break between. So you check out the groups that are in step 2 and move them on to step 3. And then you check out the groups that are in step 1 and move them to step 2, and then groups that are in step 0 and move them to step 1. You want to do it like always inverse order, or else it just all executes at once. Where should I save this? I'll put it up here. Why did that happen? There we go. So I'll probably reverse this order at some point. Alright, so local groups. I don't want to keep iterating through this. Maybe like, but then I have to because it's being changed. Like offload to this headless client, and then for each here, I iterate to the next headless client, and then this has to be updated. So I'll keep it in this scope. I'm just pretty happy that this all worked on the first try. Pretty happy. But what's next? So that's where's my little to-do list here? Send offload notifications. So we've just done this. We've just done like, this will be done in other scripts, like spawning scripts. And then in here we'll do step 1, which is this. We just set it to step 1. And now we want to also check step or groups that are in step 2. So we'll check step 2 up here. What have I just done here? Why did I do this? Is equal to 0, which is not what I want. Maybe is equal to 2. Yeah. So I'm gonna bring this block up here. It's like the next stage. Should I call this 0 to 1? And then this will be step 2 to 3. Step 2 to 3. So we're getting, and we're skipping, like obviously I'm setting this to 1 here, and then we're reading to receive it as number 2. That's because we're going to do work on the headless client machine to set it to step 2. So we have to, I keep on hitting like the mute button on this mic. Quite inconvenient. Yeah, this is it's not the most fun to watch, but this is like the nuts and bolts of some of the more complex stuff that we work on. So here we're checking, this is poorly named. These variables are poorly named. I should name that to like 2. Just for clarity. It's okay. So it should be the last server component in the handover. Sorry if this like, so it seems like faffing around, but like we're doing new stuff. Like we're not reviewing like other people's work and like refactoring or like editing stuff. We're like building from scratch. We have a basic, we've designed like a basic structure, but actually like banging out the code is all like building from scratch. So it's not like a clean process. It's very messy. Like this was like the first iteration I did a long time ago, and I don't like it. And then yesterday, I worked on another iteration, which the closest thing you could describe is to like baby birds in a nest, all like putting their hand up to receive food from mama, from like server. So it's like all these headless clients would say, "Hey, I'm available. I'm available. Hey, look at that group over there. Give me that group." And then they just compete for it. And it was a lot of extra variables flying around and a lot of extra network traffic, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, like players will never notice it. But I do. I notice these things. And I can't live with myself if it's poorly designed like that. So we do it properly, and we do it with network relational handshakes. So this step here, the headless client has received this variable here. So the headless client's received the this information and has sent back to the server, "Hey, I've received this information. Give it to me. Send it." Like send the group, send it. So that's what we're doing here. HC units, stage 2, local groups, AI group headless client, select 0 is equal to 2, and that select 1 is equal to this relationship. And now we'll check just to make sure it could be empty if it's not empty, then let's do it. But we only do one at a time, like you select random here. HC units S0. I mean, that's okay, but for this, we want group select random. And then now we are going to transfer the group. So we will go, very simply, it's basically like group, set group owner, um, HCID. But it might not work on the first try. So we want it to keep trying. Yeah, we want it to, like, this may not work on the first try. It just might not. Like, maybe a Zeus is in control of that group, or whatever. Anything could happen. So we're gonna keep trying. That's okay. I like that. I think. Do we leave it like that? I think we do. So we're actually like we're making good progress here. I didn't know how this would look or how this would have to look, but I think we're making good progress. So we're going to keep going. We're going to if is dedicated. I wonder if I can do all the because the headless client's in here too. Like the headless client's executing the script as well. It's just there's an is dedicated condition here. I wonder if I can do something about that. Also, what is going on here? So I've had this clients. Okay, yeah. I want to like comment some of this out. Some of this is like old. Like we transfer also like animals, like the sheep and the civilians and stuff. We transfer them too. Um, but I might. Should I rewrite that too? I wonder. Yeah, I guess we'll just rewrite it. Hey, like, so I'm just gonna press delete on this. But then there's like good stuff here that I don't want to delete. I don't know. It's just a bit tricky, tricky. What should I do? I'm just deciding whether just to delete this block here. Should I delete the block? There's just good stuff there though. That's the problem. So I'm just going to comment it out. So we'll keep it like that. All right. So we will just comment this stuff out for now. It's just hard here. Like, yeah, I'm not going to use any of that, but for viewing reference, it might be something I want to look at later. Inspiration or whatever you call it. I don't know. So I'll comment it out, and then I've had like a lot of headless client stuff in here. Um, but maybe I don't need it in here. Maybe it's easier to like if it's all just in the other script. So let us copy that. And near the bottom somewhere, paste that. So I'm not gonna use most of that either, but I want to get remote groups as well. So private QS module C remote groups. It's a variable that the headless client will use. Only the headless client. Actually, how do we get groups that are only owned by the server? Maybe this should have the server ID in it by default. That's our step in the process, and this is the network owner. Okay. I think this works. Yeah, okay. So we'll set that to 2 by default. So that way the headless client can search for remote groups with yeah, you get the point. So go what do I want to check? I want to check here general info, module HC. If not, or if did I have like a headless client variable up here? Is HC, yes. So we're going to be setting our headless client variable, or you're testing it here. If is headless client, then remote groups equals. I'll just pull this out here for now, actually, and optimize it later. All groups. Select. Select 1 is equal to 2. So we're testing if we're on the headless client machine, then we're getting a list of groups that are owned by the server that are available for offload. I think I think that's what we're doing. Remote groups. What are we doing? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay. Okay. S0. I'm not even sure I need that one. Actually, I think I do. What am I doing? This is not units. This is like groups and groups and groups. Just renaming this variable to something more appropriate. Okay, I'm happy with that. Why did nothing come up there? Okay, there we go. Sorry, I'm just figuring out this as I go. It's the nature of problem solving here. HC groups 2. That's not what I want, so I want groups 1. Okay, I'm starting to get a feel for what we're doing. Local groups, but we want remote groups. Remote groups which are server owned. Select. So you got remote groups is equal to 2. I'm just going to copy this bit down. Yeah, if you're expecting like something fun to watch, like the last video, sorry, it's not it. This is like slightly different. So HC groups 1, remote groups, select. I could do all this in one go. I could do all this in one go. Why do I need remote groups? I don't. Maybe I don't need this. You're just figuring it out as we go. I can just use this variable. Select, and then I want this as like one of the params. Throw in an extra bracket over there. Actually, that can be the second line. Like 0. See, in this section here, on the headless client, I know this is getting a bit tricky, but down here is what the headless client, like both the server and the headless client are reading this script, are like evaluating this. It's running on both machines. So the server is executing this bit, and the headless client is executing this bit. So what we're doing here is we're getting as the headless client groups which have been previously evaluated here by the server. So once the server does this, it should show up here for the headless client. All groups select 0 is equal to, what should it be, 1? It's easier to work on, like it's actually good that we're putting it in the same script. It's just easier to work on. Like 0 is equal to 1, and AI owner. Oh, okay, this will change now. We'll need, get rid of that. Client owner equals client owner. So for the server, that'll be 2. S1, all group select. Select 0 is equal to 1, should say here. And select 2 be equal to client owner. But that shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the case. But it is. What do I do about that? I think that's not the current network owner. This is like a relational owner. Like the network owner is returned by not, is returned by that. So we'll just use that. Not local X, that has not been transferred yet. Module HC groups S1. All groups select not local. Is in stage 1, so it has been executed there. I don't want groups to get stuck in like purgatory process as well. Like, what if the headless client gets this variable but not this variable? I guess if it doesn't get this variable, then so what? Then it's just like a naked transfer, and we can do something else. Like a bug will have happened, but we can just do something else. Maybe. Hopefully. Yeah. That's that variable. What to do, what to do. So I'm just taking like not a break, but I guess you could call it like so checking the news, paying attention to stuff that isn't. Stuff that isn't Arma related. Um, what to do, what to do. I'm gonna leave this stream running and I'll be back. I'm just gonna make a cup of tea. And we're just still working on headless client stuff. Back in a sec. Alright. We are somewhat back. Somewhat back. And continuing. So, let us see what we were progressing with. This is our headless client bit. This is actually a really easy way to lay it out. I'm actually quite enjoying this way. 1 to 2. Don't need that anymore. Where is... Actually, one sec. Okay. Back. So, next step. What do we got? Yeah, so this is on the server there 0 to 1, on the headless client 1 to 2, on the server 2 to 3. S1, HC groups S1. Let's have a look. Just looking around. Okay. Sorry, I'm just a bit distracted. That's okay though. So we want to get a list of groups that are in the transfer pipeline, but which are local, or that are only local to the server. So all groups, is this local anyways? No. Like local X, that's why I don't use that variable. HC groups 1, all groups select, not local X. X get variable like 0 is equal to 1. That means like after this has been set, HC groups HC select 1 is equal to 2. That's like actually this is a problem. This is a problem here. Because we set it here is equal to select 1 is equal to client owner. I think that is what it should be, but I should also have a default variable in there. Select 1 is equal to client owner. That seems okay to me. To make sure all this stuff works. do. Sorry, I'm just very distracted at the moment. Very, very distracted. Okay. Equal to client owner. These are like groups that are in the pipeline. If it's not equal to, then we'll pick a random one. Select random. Select random something, right? What should we do? So we got our random group. I know what I have to do. I'm just like, I don't know. Like once I hit like an hour, hour and a half, um, I want to just zone out for a second. So that's what I was just doing. So the group, what I was thinking about, like while I was zoning out, I was also thinking about network packet loss. Like say this variable gets to the headless client from the server, but this one does not. That's a problem. That's a big problem. Like there's no, like all we're doing in this step is sending this variable. Um, but if it doesn't get there, then what? Then what? Then what we need to do, if is nil, group get variable, then we need to send back and kick this back a step. We could even do like exit with. I just have no desire to like do this fast today, so that's why we're taking a while with it. It's just I just don't want to go fast for whatever reason. So if is nil data, then we have to kick this back to the step. Um, so how do we find this step here? Local groups, like 0 is equal to 0. So I want to send this back, reset this. And then set that. So I'll send that one back. But if it was better, then what should we do? We should go. Why am I mentally blanking over this? Basically, we're just doing this. We're just adding this transfer receiver variable and setting that we've added it. So we're just going like, where are we? Group add event handler, and this is like, yeah, whatever. I'm just working on it. Whatever. Group event local. I'll steal this and I'll add it to this bit here. Group event local. So this is like an event handler that triggers when the group is received by the headless client. Group add event handler local. Should I save that in a variable? Nah. Group event local. Now signal that we are done with it. Group set variable. And what step are we at? So we set this to step 2. Should be client owner. Set that client owner as well, whatever. Sure, it's step 2 and client owner. Da da da. Now we've set step 2 there. We've added our locality receiver. Now the server is going to come along and see step 2. Select 0 is equal to 2. Da da da. Select random that. Set group owner. And yeah, that is that section right here. Sorry, I'm just like very like I don't know what it is, like Sunday afternoon. Um, just a bit blasé, just chilling. I'm like what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to play music, but like not have it play through speakers, sort of thing. Like I want music to play, but I don't want it to be heard on YouTube, or else I get in trouble from YouTube. That's a bit of a trick. So in our group event local, we have to edit our group event local. Basically what it's doing is it's taking all this data here and breaking it down. So if it is local, then remove the event handler. Set behavior, set combat mode is equal to 2. Unit data equal to X. What I can do 0, 1, 2, 3. I can sort of clean this up a bit. It's a bit dirty. Unit data params. And I can just feed some stuff in here. AI. I also thought about like only transferring groups that aren't in combat. Like if you see a group and it's like in combat and the locality shifts, there's like a bit of a stutter. So I'm not sure. Maybe once I see what it looks like, that might be one of like the version 2 things to work on, is to like not transfer groups that are currently in combat. Unit skill, unit skills. I can delete these. What did I do before though? I switched stuff around so like the AI was last. Like all the skill things are up front. Skill, AIs. Yep. Cool. So group get variable is this. For each index is equal to 0. This. Select 1. This. Go to 2 is unit data. For each 2. For each data. Just making sure all this makes sense. For each data, unit data equals X. unit data params, unit, unit skill, unit skills, and then unit features, and then x is equal to 1, and enable AI feature. AI features right here. Select for each index. I just hope like this for each index. I hope I don't run into issues there. I shouldn't. We'll see. We'll see though. Okay. I think it was important to have this here instead of up top though. So select for each index. Enable AI feature, like say auto combat. X is equal to 1. So if x is equal to 1, that's true. If it's not, then it's false. Good. Very good. Okay. Bust that up. Some brackets I don't need there. Even here, some brackets I don't need. Okay, so that bit's looking good. We're getting closer to like doing a test, like a live test, which is pretty exciting. I'll get rid of this. Get rid of that. Getting some of the stuff out of the code. Just cleaning it up, just to see where we're at. Because I'm really keen to run a test now. I just want to do it. I want to do it. So tag that as Headless Client. HC core, I can get rid of a lot of stuff in here actually. Get rid of a lot of stuff because we moved it over to the other script. Delete a lot of that stuff. Leave all that for now. Don't need a lot of this, but I'll get rid of that later. Headless client stuff, AI. I do want some of my report variables. So maybe I'll put like AI report for the server. We'll go here, and AI report for the headless client. We'll go maybe just down here. We'll get rid of. I still want to keep that. I still want to keep that stuff. I'm not done with it. So I'll keep that. What else is done here? There should be another thing. I'll probably have to throw in a bracket there. Comes to there. All right. That's the start of a test. That's the start of a test. I want to open up the script. The script's got a lot of junk in it, but it's so useful. Such a useful script. Alright, we're about to run a test. We're not getting excited, but we're like doing something different, right? But what I need to do I need to change stuff. What do I need to do? I don't even know. I don't know. So in debug, I'm gonna like set some of these variables to start the handover process. And then as a player, I want to be able to see what's going on. So I want to see some of these variables. So should I set it to true for now? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Set group owner. Like that. Wait a sec. Wait a sec. Is equal to 2. I have to also now do like group set variable. 3 and then HCID. And I'll do just true for now. Just so I as a client can see these steps in the process as well. So we'll do it the smart way here. Do it this way, but then comment that out. And we'll throw back with just a true setting. Same thing here. So I want to be able to visualize it from Zeus. So set that there. Dot. True. Where are other set variable places? Do I only 1 to 2? 2 to 3? I'm just like, I don't know, just deal with it. Alright, so there's like another variable state that I need to change. I can do it in this thing here. I can go like group set variable. Should be in should already be handed off right here. So 3 and then 4. I'm gonna set 4 and then we'll set it up here actually. Set it above. If this is confusing, don't worry, it's confusing for me too. Let's trim that out. It doesn't exist. A client owner true. So if it's gotten to stage 4, then it is then local to the headless client. That is the important bit. And I've set all these to true so I can see them. I got this one as well. This bit down here doesn't matter. Okay. See if we can test this. Hopefully no script errors. Probably a few. Oh, no script errors. Okay, cool. Export to multiplayer. That's what I want. Server run. So we're just launching our headless client and server now. Just to see what happens. I hope this is all worth it. I like putting a lot of effort into this headless client stuff. And I just hope it's worth it. Um, ouch. Wow, that's so weird. I'm just like watching the S&P 500 like plummeting, and all like the what do you call it? Like the index funds and stuff I bought over the last like few months just plummeting. Not that bad, but plummeting. That's okay. We don't really care. So we'll go to our server. There's still a lot of things to do for Headless Client, but I've given myself like a week to do it, which is should be plenty of time. Like I have to manage crashes, like the Headless Client crashes, and what? There's a lot of stuff to manage. I want to make these boxes like medical boxes, but maybe in the future. Right now I just have that like orange bag up here for medical. Whatever. Okay. So we got our AO over here. We're gonna add a visualizer right now. So I'm gonna go over to this function here. Draw 3D. There's my draw 3D. And what do I want to do? I want to do like for each all groups. Radar. See the icon doesn't matter. Actually, I need to. I'll just copy this for a sec. Icon doesn't matter. Position. Cause visual leader X. Getter visual leader X. Actually, is that correct? Getter. I don't really want a direction. 0. Text, this is important, so we'll go stir x get variable. Sorry, AI stuff. Group HC. I1. Use the. Alright, we'll see what happens here. So I want to visualize the group state for all these things. Okay, that's a lot of blue. We'll have to shrink some of those things. So that's the text. 0.1. That's better. Okay. So we'll let our headless client connect now. Let's see if that helicopter has the rocket pods. No, it does not. Alright, headless client is connecting. Alright, Headless Client connected. Let's put like a group of Blue 4 AI over here, because right now they're all like simulation disabled. So I'll put a group of Blue 4 AI down. Set their skill way down. And now we'll do something on the server. If get variable, if there's no object parents leader X. So if like the group is like foot soldiers, then X set variable HC 0, 2. Is that it? 0, -1. True. If local X, then alright. Gonna check our scripts for errors just in case. I think, which one is it? This one? It's our server. I'm just checking for script errors before we run any fancy tests. Okay. Okay. We seem to be doing okay. So that's the server. We'll check our headless client as well. Make sure this is fine. Any script errors? Headless clients, local units, groups, agents, nothing. Okay. Doesn't matter the FPS difference. So server FPS is at 91. Headless client FPS is at like 45. Interesting. 46. Whatever. Okay, so we'll execute this. This is where it should get interesting. Server exec. So I should see 1 and 5. What the? Oh, okay, this is the owner. So is this group headless client owned? No? Is this group headless client owned? If this group is headless client owned, then we are awesome. Because that means it's like it's either stationary, they're not moving around any. So this is headless client, then that is amazing. So you can see they're slowly switching, if I can speak. Wherever you see like 5, that means it's headless client owned. But I wonder why it's like staying as number 1. That's what I want to know. I need to see more. Like I need to see like 4 right here. Yeah, okay, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. 1 and 5. I'm not seeing what I want to see. Zeros. 1 and 5. Okay, so I have some work to do. So why am I seeing Why am I seeing this? 1 and 5. 1 and 5. Um. Oh, okay. Bug, that's why. Undefined variable expression group. Line 712. So we'll have a look at that. So we've got a small script error here. It's okay. Check any script errors in the server as well. Lovely, nothing here. Yeah, no script errors. So 712 of one of these files, if I can find it. $712. So if is nil. Oh, that's why. Stupid. Look at this. Groups S1 and then groups S0. Stupid. And that is defined. Select random is nil. Yeah, okay. Is not equal to. So I was seeing a lot of like 1 and 5. What was I seeing? I was seeing this variable gets set, and then it was erroring out going to step 2. So we got something to look at here. We'll shut our server down. I think I'm happy with that. Like, I think that's like a small success right there. But we'll have a look. So, exit out of all this. We'll do about another half hour of this, and then hopefully we'll get some results by then. Yeah, so that's better. It's not equal, stuck random that. What I also want to do, I saw in there. So I don't need to do it there. So it should be good to launch again. Man, stiff today, stiff today. So where are we going? We're going editor. So basically fixed a little bug. Just literally one character that was incorrect. Alright, off we go again. See what we got. So started. Hit in. This is basically what I mean, it used to be a lot faster for me to dev this game mode. When I had everything packed in like a server file, a server folder as a mod, is really fast to to edit. But when I have to like re-PBO everything, it's a lot slower. What do I want to do? I want to get the headless client in here. And then in this thing right here, I want to also do like a side check for east resistance, then I don't want like the recruitable the recruitable AI base going over to headless. Is the headless in? Yes, he's here. Okay. So headless client's in. There's our AO. We'll get our 3D thing up. 1005. What's the color? So I can do like blue and green. I'll do green for successfully transferred units. Select. Select 0 is equal to 4. I think this is what I want to do. Select RGB, so we'll do green. So if it goes green, it means it's like on the it means it's like running on the what's shooting here? Something's shooting. Ah, this is shooting at the ship. It's gonna get wrecked by this anti-air though. Oh, it's shooting at the ship. What a dog. This thing's gonna cane it once it figures out what it's doing. There it goes. Dead, buddy. He did. Okay, so these are all like that. So doing this here will start the process. So we're just gonna do it. Should I go? Alright, let's go. So watch for the numbers to change. The first number should change to like there, we got something going on here. Step 3. Step 3. Look for the green. Oh baby. Oh, see when it goes green, it's going to headless client. Oh my god, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Oh my, this makes me happy to watch. Yeah, so when it goes to green, it's headless client owned. Bro, this is amazing. I love this. Okay, okay. I think we're winning, guys. I think we're winning. When it hits 4, it means it's been the locality has been transferred. What I really want to see, oh, bro, it's working. It's working. Like that these guys. I want to see these guys. I want to see this group go to Headless Client. Yeah. So once again, the the greens are Headless Client. I should probably like enable some AI. So put some stuff down there. Yeah. So the greens are Headless Client. Interesting. So it's in the pipeline, but it stopped at like stage 2. Wonder why that is. Why is it? Why did it go to the waypoint spot? Why is it going to the waypoints? It's not supposed to like. They're not supposed to respect waypoints. They're like server owned. That is bizarre. Is it treating me as a headless client? Nah, nah. Um, that's amazing. Now I'm gonna look at the. Our system worked like for all its complexity. It worked right away. And that is why we do cool stuff. Okay. No bugs in the sent keep distance. What's this? What is this? Tried to access target lists for non-local AI group. Okay. While non-local targeting was disabled. Non-local targeting, which will hurt client-side performance. Interesting. That's like a weird line. I've never even seen that before. Now enable non-local targeting, which will hurt client-side performance. Interesting. I'll keep a note of that. That's quite something. What do we got here? So, local units 72, local groups 18. So it seems to be holding at that. I wonder why. What did I set its threshold at? The HC max load is 60. So if I change this to like 150, I change it to like say 200, so everything. Now more groups should be added to Headless Client. Probably everything. Yep, there's one. I want to see this one. This is the main one. Okay, it's in the process. Step 2, step 3. Come on, please, please, please. Step 4. Bro, I think we did it. I think we've done it. Because what this means is that these AI right here have transferred to a headless client, and they have kept their no movement orders. Like they're not moving. Like if it didn't work, they would have like regrouped. Like they would have started all like regrouping over to here. But bro, that's amazing. We've done it. It's pretty exciting. So now all the infantry AI are running on the headless client. All the vehicles. And I guess this group here is not headless client. Oh, they came in after, huh? Okay, they came in after. So I have to go back here. Step 2, step 3. And hand over step 4. Alright. So they have just handed over to the headless client. Man, that's awesome. The fact that it worked like so well is like, I'm pretty proud of that actually. The fact that there's like almost no bugs going on. So local units 124, local groups 25, local agents 0. So what we haven't done yet is hand off these guys. We haven't handed off these guys yet. We will. So even the commander is on. Yeah, so some things will remain on the server, like see the anti-air batteries. They will remain server side. But just general infantry will go to headless client. Man, that's so exciting. I have to try with like 2 headless clients now too. We have to change our mission a bit to support more headless clients. And we'll also have to have like a load balancing algorithm. So like so if there's 1 connected, it takes like half the load or almost half, and if there's 2 connected, they like split the load even more. But that's an easy, like that's almost the one-liner once we know what we're doing. Oh my gosh, so we've actually done it. We've done a lot of what we came to do. Oh, is he moving on the rock? Incredible. I'm pretty excited by like how well that went. So if I go to server, the server should be pretty. I'm actually gonna save this line. It's quite interesting. That's an engine report. I'm gonna save that. If I go to the server FPS, what is our local units 34, local groups 23, agents 14. That's actually pretty amazing. So we'll try to run like an auto test now. So we'll take it a step further. Go back to our groups thing. We'll do like 0 spawn. Language. Local X. If is nil. Get variable. And we're gonna do like an auto well, QS tests do I still have to test that. Like, there's lots of stuff left to do actually. QS tests. We'll go loop 10. We'll start this up. And now that's running. Now I'm going to cycle the AO. See what happens. So we're going to cycle the AO. These guys are all going to delete. They should. Server still controls the spawning and despawning. Server still runs that stuff, I think. Why are they not despawned yet? Uh-oh. That's problems. Yeah, we got a bug here. These should all be like despawning now, I think. These all have to... Maybe I'll just delete them. Something about, like, because the headless client is connected, the server isn't, okay, interesting. Yeah, because the headless client is connected, the server isn't, doing the spawning like it should. Nor is the headless client. There's a little bug there to address. But we've actually done quite a substantial amount. I'm extremely happy with how that went because we basically just banged out a whole system in like a couple hours, and there was only one little script error, which turned out to be like a single character wrong. So we do have a bug. Let's see if we can find what it is. So it's with classic mode. I know what it is roughly because, I scripted a lot of this stuff maybe. So what I did initially, like the whole purpose of this file, like the FNAI file, the whole purpose of it was actually to break all the AI spawning away from all the mission spawning and like the core.sqf. Like it was to break AI away from the core, like AI spawning and despawning. Where's the core? Yeah. So the whole purpose was to break the AI away from this master procedure here, so that headless client could do some spawning and despawning itself. Like this whole trigger in it was like the mission says, all right, trigger AI spawning, and then the headless client's like, all right, let's go. But I could never iron out AI proper or headless client properly. So I never used it for its intended purpose, but now we are here. We've changed how we're doing a headless client slightly. Like we're doing it offloading, like spawning on the server and then offloading, rather than spawning directly on the headless client. It's okay, as long as it works. So where are we? Virtual sectors, not that one. Module classic. Here we go. So let's find up here where module classic is dedicated. Yeah, so classic. The only run of it's on dedicated. Probably at the bottom of AO enemy is like a variable fiddle. Where did I put it? AO enemy. So why? So the enemy spawns. Yeah, active D in it. I wonder if it's in like the go back to the core. So it's equal to classic. So why have not triggered D in it? Why is it not working? Hard to tell, huh? Oh, okay. So I've done some stuff here. Trigger D in it. This will be Y. False. Select. So because HC is active, it's sending this information to the headless clients only. So I have to search the mission file for that variable. Okay, it's in 36 places. Not that bad. Is HC active? Group HC, so that's an unused variable. It's in the core a few times. They prepare. So I have to go through all of these and untangle them a bit. So that'll probably be work for another day. I think we did some amazing stuff today. Like we brought Headless Client from like a well, if you just go to the start of the video, you see what state the main procedure was in, and we brought it to a stage where it was offloading and the AI was getting like their information correctly, which is quite stunning actually. It's pretty cool. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. We got through quite a lot of tough stuff to do as well. Like it wasn't the easiest stuff to work on. But yeah, we'll work on it further over this week, and I'll do some more live streams to show the journey of how we get to a functional headless client system, including like all the supports and fire support, fire missions we use.